heal them through and basically take responsibility for that person until they arrive at their destinations, Williams was telling the station. Despite being reassured 3 or 4 times that she was on the right flight to London, Williams said that later he learned from the driver who was hired to pick her up that she had never arrived. Oh, boy. Williams said that he had found out hours later that his mother had landed in New Jersey but was kicked off her next flight to London. So basically, she was left at her gate for 12 hours. They offered her a hotel room that was miles away, Williams said, and she had to get there on her own steam. There's no way that my mom could have pushed a wheelchair at her age. So she sat there, 77 years old, in a wheelchair. United Airlines responded this past Tuesday, saying this should have never happened, and that the entire airline had apologized to the customer's family. We have spoken with our customer family to apologize. That's good. We're working with our team and our wheelchair assistance vendor at Newark to review what happened and to prevent this from happening again, United said in a statement. The airline, because of the inconvenience, is offering a $1,000 voucher to the mother. Well, that's very kind. You stress people out to no end. Your mother, 77 years old, in a wheelchair, ends up having to get to a hotel, staying at the gate for 12 hours, and you give her $1,000. Wow. That's impressive. $1,000. They're going to make it okay. You know, I'm glad that we have the radio show that we can put this information out. It's a shame because you do trust. You pay for it. You pay for the flight. You pay for everything. And you think that because somebody's handicapped that they would take extra care to make sure that they were just okay. And more than okay, they get to where they're supposed to go. It's a shame. It really is. United, man, they, wow. Not good, folks. That's why a lot of people, they just don't trust these. It's a vendor that they use, as you heard, to fly with the individual. You try to, some people, they put their kids on flights. I wouldn't trust it. I'd have to fly with my daughter. Even at 14, I'd do it. I'm sorry. But some people, they'll put their kid younger. I would never trust an airline to do that. I don't care how good the airline is. Just makes you think twice before doing it, doesn't it? It's just a story that just reminds us that, folks, there's people out there that just don't have much common sense or decency. Now, things happen. There's the human, errors. People are not perfect. Things happen. I'm not one of these cynical guys that, goes around saying nobody's good. There's no good people out there, but there's a lot of folks out there. Few bricks short of a load. And what's scary is that they work for the airline. And they're handling your grandma. They're handling your mother. People are not balanced themselves. I mean, they think you could do a much better job screening these people before putting them in this position. And I just wonder, really, seriously, what's the educational level of these folks that are pushing these wheelchairs around the airport? I had an experience with my mother-in-law, and these people are bumping into things and not even listening or even paying attention to our directions. So I finally just told the guy, hey, please, I got the wheelchair. Please just leave my mother-in-law alone. Because apparently she doesn't mean anything to you. And for a lot of people, they just don't. They don't get care. And bumping into things, hurting her. And in a rush, I mean, an amazing rush, she almost got flung off the wheelchair. Man, what people will do. And they do that to your luggage. I've had some really nice luggage. Don't spend too much money on luggage, folks. I didn't spend a fortune. The last luggage that I bought was from AAA. And it was on sale. But they're not very nice to your luggage. Anything that goes under the plate, they whip. Make sure you have nothing breakable. They don't take very good care of it at all. They don't. And lately, anytime I fly, I try to just make sure that I take stuff with me. Flying light, carry on, laptop, that's it. And just have to make sure that there's a good iron in the hotel room. Maybe you have somebody with you that knows how to use that iron. Yeah, you know who you are. You know how to use that iron. Or you got a hotel service that does it for you. Or just what I've done, if you're not very good with one, is you just hang up your shirt in the shower. Well, not in the shower, but, when you're taking the shower in the room there, let the steam do it. And sometimes that'll just do it perfectly. Oh, yeah, take a nice hot shower, and then your shirt's all nice and ready to go. Bada bing, bada boom. Apple, I'm kind of excited about this. This is the time of year where their new iPhones come out, new operating system, and it's all cool. And Apple may have outdone themselves this time. I mean, truly. Now, they're trying to come up with something that's really going to revolutionize, which Apple really did with the first iPhone. Changed everything you knew about it because it's really a computer. And everybody's been really trying to copy them, and some have done a pretty good job. But despite trying to downplaying fears of its new facial recognition technology, it uses your face to open up the phone. Facial recognition. They'll be the first. Apple has received an inquiry already before the release of the iPhone from the U.S. Senate about just how safe it really is. In a letter addressed to Apple CEO Timothy Cook, Senator Al Franken of Minnesota noted that while details of the highly anticipated iPhone X, that's what they're calling it, which uses Face ID and its unlocking capabilities are still emerging, he is encouraged by the steps that Apple states it has taken to implement the system responsibly. Despite that, some questions still remain, however. Substantial questions remain about how Face ID will impact iPhone users' privacy and security, and whether the technology will perform equally well on different groups of people. The former Saturday Night Live cast member turned politician wrote in the letter, to offer clarity to the millions of Americans who use your products, I ask that you provide more information. And now the company has processed these issues internally, as well as any additional steps that it intends to take to protect its users. Franken is the chairman of the State Judiciary Subcommittee on Privacy, Technology, and Law. That's why he's writing the letter. Apple so far not responded to a request for comment for the Fox News outlet that provided the story. During iPhone launch event, Apple Senior Vice President of Marketing Phil Shearer said that the facial recognition technology can adapt as your face changes. Face ID learns your face. It learns who you are, said Shearer. That includes changes such as growing facial hair, wearing makeup, or other alterations people make to their faces. What was embarrassing wasn't Apple's moment on stage with Cook doing it to himself with the facial it didn't work. So it's very embarrassing. Oh, yeah. Not good, but cool technology. They had this concern with the fingerprint, with the technology with the fingerprint, but the fingerprint's on all the phones. You can unlock the phone with your fingerprint on the iPhone. It's very cool. But now, we were thinking retina. You put your eyeball on there, but this is your face. facial recognition. And, a lot of questions are asked by people, can people just do it with a photograph? And no, it's not that easy. They actually know it's a living face, just kind of like with your fingerprint. If somebody steals your fingerprint, people asked, can they unlock your phone? And the answer is no. Your finger actually has to be alive. Believe it or not. The cost of the X is what they're calling it, which is supposed to be their 10th anniversary phone as they're releasing it. It's supposed to have a lot of health benefits to it. Some of you might have arrhythmias, where your heart, is not beating as it should. Maybe you have AFib, but maybe you don't even know you have it. Well, your phone is smart enough to know if you do, and it will alert you and let you know. Believe it or not, it's $1,000. It's supposed to be one of the best phones out there now with the facial ID. Everybody's going to want this, and everybody will they'll copy this eventually. But they're touting the security of its new Face ID and compound to the previous method for unlocking the phone known as Touch ID. Apple said the chances of someone being able to unlock your phone with Touch ID, which utilizes a fingerprint, is 1 in 50,000 with Face IDs. Face IDs, it's 1 in a million. So there you go. We'll find out if the senator, Al Franken of Minnesota, was able to get any play off this one. I really doubt it's going to stop production of the phone, and I think it'll roll out just as fast as the news came out about it. Everybody's got a face. And I think, people that buy the phones, I think that they realize that there's always a security possibility that somebody else might be able to get into their phones. But I'll tell you, I've had the best of luck so far with Apple. And I don't make a dime off telling you this. I love Apple products. They work, and they last a lot longer than any Windows product that I've ever had. I love it. With all the news with Irma, everything that's been going on around the country. Did you hear about the school shooting? A school custodian is being called a hero. Oh, I'm talking about the school shooting. Yeah, some people went off starting to shoot some people. Yeah, Spokane County Sheriff's Office said that Wednesday evening that the custodian approached the suspect at Freeman High School, where it took place during the incident. It was in the morning, and credited him as being a hero. They're saying that there was a suspect that brought in 2 weapons to the school in Rockford, south of Spokane, but the first one he tried to fire jammed. So he went to his next weapon, and a student walked up to him, engaged him, and the student was shot. That student did not survive. So there was a student that died, unfortunately. But a school custodian stopped a suspect from continuing a shooting rampage that killed 1 student, injured 3 others at a high school near Spokane, Washington. A custodian is being a hero. The sheriff said that the suspect fired more rounds down the hallway, striking other students before the custodian intervened. He added that the janitor's actions were a courageous act that prevented further bloodshed. Spokane County deputy who works as a school resource officer arrived shortly thereafter and took the suspect into custody. And he didn't turn the gun on him, didn't get shot, killed. They have him. The 3 victims who survived were all stable and doing well, according to officials, although one was expected to need surgery later on. No information or specific injuries were provided, but none of the 3 victims were identified. A 2-lane road into the town of about 500 people near the Idaho border was clogged as worried parents sped to the school. Some people abandoned their cars on the streets to get to their children. Cheryl Moster said her son, a freshman, called her from her classroom after hearing that the shots were fired. Pretty terrified parents, as you can imagine.